where do you see the comments on the Facebook page?
I've got it on here. I'm like the technological queen this morning.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I hope it works.
Okay, this is not fair. Why do I have like two faces there?
You see, go to gallery view.
Well, one will go away. It was on mine for a while, but then
Yours, yeah, no, yours is fine. You're
Yeah.
good. You're good. You're good. So is Marie coming?
She said she is, so hopefully we'll see her.
Kate said she might join as well. So I reckon we start. And those that can join us will join us. Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
Morning, girlies. So firstly,
Morning.
good morning to everybody that's going to be watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you again today. And I hope everyone had a lovely Easter. I know it was a bit of a different Easter because obviously couldn't physically be with our families most of the time. And yeah, Easter, as it comes around every year, but this is definitely one of those times that we will never forget this Easter because it's kind of a little bit different. But the reason why I wanted to talk about rebirth today was because Easter is a time of the resurrection. I mean, I'm not particularly religious in my own way, but I'm a very spiritualist. I'm a spiritualist. Believe in the universe. I believe in a greater power. I do believe in God, and I'm very much a believer of energy. Angels, I believe in angels. I believe in all the good in this world, the magic, the power, and the universe. So yeah, but obviously Christianity is and a lot of religions celebrate not celebrate, but the death of Jesus was Good Friday, and then the resurrection, which is the rebirth. So I kind of thought it might tie in really nicely, rebirth, with Easter, which is all the way around the subjects to get to the front gate. But you've got Easter eggs, so you've got eggs and the birth of new life, and the rebirth of yourself. You can create anything you want to be. You've got a blank page to start again, and every day we've got a blank page to start again. So so we can use that to any advantage that we want, every day. So every day is a new beginning. Before I start throwing out there about rebirth, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, because I'll share a little story that I went through. So about 9 years ago, so Ethan was 1 year old. I had Ethan the year before, obviously, and it was a very difficult year because it was a breakdown of my relationship at the time, which was with his dad, obviously, and we'd been together 8 years. And when he was 1, I was dumped. That's a nice way of putting it. I was dumped a week before Ethan's first birthday. And at that time, about 2 weeks later, my very best friend that I'd been with for 20 years as my partner in business, in life, we'd done so many things together. It was my best friend. He left too. And I found myself broken. Everything I ever knew, everything that I ever was, everything that I worked with, and everything, my life just stopped, and it came to a halt emotionally. And I didn't know who I was anymore. I had absolutely no idea who I was anymore. And that whole year, I was reborn. And how I did it was, I literally had to strip away and start again. And I focused I used to go to Reiki every Saturday. There was a free Reiki centre which was near me, which is Reiki is when they Reiki masters transmit energy and realign your chakras. So anyone that doesn't know that, look into Reiki, because Reiki is extremely powerful. But it was almost like a religion to me. And I used to go there every Saturday and be surrounded by the most beautiful people that were giving their time and their energy, their pure energy, just to help people. And that really, really, really helped me so much. And I struggled through the first few months, and then I started getting into the flow. And I used to wake up every day and I used to just make it a complete, I just focused on the good, what I had around me, all the positive things that I could muster together to change, to become who I was again, because I just didn't know who I was for so long. And over that year, I got stronger and I got stronger, and I built myself up, and I finally became someone that I looked in the mirror and I loved again. I loved who I became again. You know, I was finding who I was. And I still had, I mean, all the time, I always let Ethan see his dad. There was never a problem there. I was a lot of pain still there. There was a lot of pent up anger and tension and just pain from that. But I never stopped that, because I always believed, you know, it was about Ethan. And then a week, he had the MMR jab when he was around 2 years old. And that's when my life really changed. So that year I'd spent myself building myself up. He had the MMR jab, and 24 hours after the MMR jab, he started fitting, and he ended up in a coma. And he was in Great Ormond Street Hospital, got taken there. And my whole life, with all my love that I'd built, everything like that, this was testing now. This was it. This was like, I was told that he wasn't going to make it through. I was told that he would be severely disabled. I was told every awful thing that you can imagine. I was told. I saw him in the worst state you can imagine, hooked up, rolling around, just awful, awful, terrible things that I saw. But at that time, his dad used to come to the hospital, and we used to sit next to the beds, you know, each time. And during that period, it was about a 6-week period, I realised that this was so much more than pain. Pain meant nothing, because this was about Ethan. This was about him and his strength, and Billy had his love for Ethan, and I had my love for Ethan, and together that was so much more powerful than all these feelings that I had pent up inside me. So I decided at that point to let it go, and it was a freedom, and it was a beautiful thing, and I let everything go. And thankfully Ethan started recovering, and it was a slow process and many weeks in hospital, but he finally got through. And thank the Lord a million times, he's 100%. And the funny thing is that Ethan, the name Ethan, means strong, and his middle name, which is Ellis, means kind. So I'd actually called him strong and kind. So it all kind of made sense. And the weird thing was that Ethan almost planned it, because it was like, that happened, and I finally realised what the true meaning of being reborn is, because it was literally shredding my own emotions, my own vanity and pain, and all the things that I'd held on to for so long, for no avail, which was my own personal poison. I decided that I could let them go, and when I did feel reborn. And thank the Lord, Ethan was great, and he still is, and every day. So that was my rebirth. That was my reborn, rebirth, everything, re-entry into the atmosphere. So yeah, after talking about that, I did it that way. So I'm gonna throw, who would like to start? Lee, please do.
I'd love to start, because what you've said leads so much onto what I was thinking about. So when the suggestion of rebirth came up, I thought that the word rebirth, I personally struggle a bit with, because it's the connotation of physically being reborn or going, you know what I mean, is no good. But the transformation that happens and that comes with birth within this lifetime, I mean, whatever happens after, the process of transformation is what you've just described, and what you've said fits in so nicely. I use the metaphor of the caterpillar and the butterfly so often, but what I'm noticing and what I see is this sort of quick little transformations happening at the moment all over the place. And what you've just described to me is what I kind of almost wanted to talk today about, and what I thought about was the length of time, the process that you went through from being that to being something else, as opposed to this quick little sort of simple, let's just change. And the word rebirth, reawakening, transformation is quite overused, and particularly at this time, where what I kind of see in a way is an opportunity to be in the cocoon, to come out something different. So COVID it's a little cocoon where we're all stuck in our homes and we need to do whatever we need to do. But so many are popping up, and I'm fascinated to watch how, people mimic one another. I know the great leaders, and, I've listened to Anthony Robbins many times in my life, and he talks about, if someone is successful, follow them and do it. But now there's these loads of little mini minions over the internet copying or regurgitating stuff that comes from him or from the main sort of, the Abraham Hicks and they're saying, follow me, pay me money, do this, do this, do this, do this. Where is the real, if you look under the covers, is that transformation or rebirth, or is that evolving into something you might want to become at some point in time? What is it that is really going on, and what is the real depth and inner meaning of what it's all about? It's not just this simple, look, here I am today, I'm going to take some pictures, I'm going to put some stuff on Facebook. What's your underlying meaning there? What do you want to do? Are you taking things that are coming from a download from a spiritual, are you listening to the angels and to, whatever your particular belief is? Are you listening to God? Are you listening to source, universe? Are you actually spending time? Are you meditating? Are you doing it? Or are you looking on Facebook or on internet and finding stuff and going, oh yeah, that's good, that suits me, I'm going to put that out today? Are you regurgitating, or are you real? And what is your underlying thing about giving away stuff? Because the giveaways are all little sort of sweet lessons that then say, come on, now I want money, now I'll sign up to my course. And this is one of the reasons I love being on this group, because this is about a group of us discussing and sharing and understanding. And for those out there who may find it interesting, awesome. But it's sharing a personal growth and a personal journey for nothing. We're not punting ourselves, nothing. We're out there offering it, but it's not about that.
No.
So what really is transformation, getting into the sort of semantics of it, in order to go from the caterpillar to the butterfly, you need to get into the depth, it's true questions of, who am I?
Yes.
Who really am I? How would I like to be? And really, I suppose, going within, and not just superficially. I don't know, and I do think that life is different. And you mentioned your vanity, and you said your vanity and your pain, and you kind of came together in love. Yeah. Is it something because you want to be out there looking good? Do you want to be the guru, or do you really want to be? What is your intention underlying this? Because if we look at the caterpillar and the butterfly, they look like two separate entities in the end of it. They look like they were never related. It's hard to believe that there ever was a correlation between the two of them. And I think that's where the real transformation is. And what you've just described now to me is, it's a different you.
Yeah.
You're talking about a completely different person here. And I love it, because that to me is what it's supposed to be, what it's all about. So we can use this COVID time as a cocoon, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is as well, I was always the same person at heart, but I grew up with a lot of problems. I grew up with a lot of bullying. I grew up not being happy with who I was. Who am I? All the love that I wanted to give was, I wasn't accepted. I wasn't part of the group. I wasn't loved for who I was a person. I had to become this entity that fitted in the world. Yeah. And I was always a kind person and a good person, I believe, but truly in my heart of heart, I couldn't be me, because all of the things that were building me up, I was in a world, I've always been it. I love my world. I love it. I'm in the entertainment industry, and I love that world, and I love the people in it. There's a lot of creatives, in our world. But I was also in a world full of a lot of greed and selfishness and vanity. And, I was never the skinniest person or, the best singer. I was never any of those things, but I was me. I was always me, and I was proud of me, but I wasn't like everyone else. And it was almost like a constant fight to try and prove who I am, who was I, you know. And at that point, 10 years ago, when all of these things happened, and when I finally let everything go, I realized that it wasn't about the battle, it was about me, and letting the true love and my true heart and everything that I believed so deeply inside, just letting it out and just becoming the butterfly, becoming who I would be, you know. So that for me, it's all inside, and it just broke through. It broke through, and I'm grateful forever. I'm grateful.
But it's beautiful, and it's beautiful to see you as this unique you that you are, because I don't know, you see such a depth and such a, what I do in you. I see sort of this depth and this beauty that comes out because you have such a love for people and encompassing all, which is also good. I mean, we've all got to grow and learn and stuff. And this whole questioning and thinking that I've done has also made me question me. Who do I judge? You know, even in speaking now, you know, everyone's doing it in their own way. But a lot of this stuff is telling me on Facebook that I'm reading, or whatever, social media, sort of saying, push yourself, learn something, do something. And then I read a psychologist report saying, it's okay. If you need to rest, if you need to go within, if you need to spend this time trying to learn to let go, that's good too. But do it with the intention behind it. Someone said to me the other day, I was talking to someone, they were saying, you know, what is your intention behind it? Are you doing this with the intention of love and helping and healing? Or are you doing it with the intention of, please God, let me keep my office? And, you know, those two are very, very different, you know. And if it is for love, then the right thing will happen with love and with ease, and the letting go will come with ease. But if it's for, I need my office, I got to have it, it's important, I need this thing, which is just an office, then it's not going to happen. And then the transformation is just kind of a, well, I don't think I'd come out a very beautiful butterfly. That was the, you know.
Beautiful. Well, you are a beautiful butterfly.
Can I quickly tell you a very, very short, very funny story just on that? And then, Susanna, please let me let you.
Yeah. Don't worry, go ahead.
But my dad was a homeopath, and he had a patient who came to him once, and there was a little girl, she was maybe 10ish, I suppose, and her grandmother had died, and she was very close to her grandmother. And she said to her mum, she wants to see my dad on her own so she could just ask him questions. And she said, you know, Mommy says that grandma's here, there, but what actually happens when you die? And my dad used the butterfly caterpillar story. And he said, you know, if you think the caterpillar is, you know, it gets ugly and all whatever, and he sort of described in great detail, as only my dad could, about how ugly the caterpillar would be. And then he went into his cocoon, which was like a sort of when you get ill, then you sort of die. And he said, and then he came out the most beautiful butterfly. And he says, you know, the uglier the cocoon, the more beautiful the butterfly. Anyway, and the little girl after her session went out, and in the waiting room, my dad sort of gave her back to mom, and she said to mom, she said, Mommy, Dr. Fulmer's going to be a beautiful butterfly.
Oh, bless.
He was such an old guy. So
we all can be beautiful butterflies, right? We all can be. It's just digging deep inside and finding that butterfly, getting that cocoon and breaking through that cocoon that we've been pent up in for so long, and breaking out and deciding to fly, right? Susanna, talk to me.
Yeah, well, as Leigh was saying, when you mentioned rebirth, I had like a kind of how to say, I didn't know exactly what you meant, and actually I called you before our meeting to ask, because to me rebirth, when I'm saying it's a technique that I've actually tried and I've been part of a few years ago with Leonard Orr, is this rebirthing process through breathing, which is a sort of way to liberate from some conditioning, and mostly from the idea of death, which is quite interesting.
I'd love to.
But this is not what I was feeling that you wanted to talk about. Now, listening to what you were saying, I think when we are talking about of course it's Easter, and for me it's not yet. I'm an Orthodox Christian, so
Yeah.
my Easter is this coming Sunday.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, I remember I grew up in a communist country, so going to the church was not it was not allowed, but it was not so common. So I didn't grow up in a very religious environment. My mom didn't necessarily take me to church, so I was not, like many people say, indoctrinated with Christian ideas. But for some reason, I always been connected with the image and the idea and the metaphor of Jesus, and has been with me for a long time. And I think if you are to find one of the best stories that could apply to everyone, this would be it. And I have here a book of Erickson. Probably you both know of him,
Beautiful,
the
yeah,
power
I love
of
it.
hypnosis, because I wanted to read you something after.
Love
But
to.
Yes.
there is no other metaphor that would probably apply to everybody in every single situation. The metaphor of being killed, of the unfairness, of the difficulty of life, and also of the possibility to be reborn and to find that love of forgiveness in the end, and wake up to what is called true life. So if you were to take this story as a metaphor, there's so much in there. And I'm sorry and sad to see that many people go against religion today. It's not everything that is bad. You should not, and we should not generalize. Everything is not how we think it is. And we always can look into stories and extract the meaning and extract the teaching from that story. And for me, the idea of rebirth is letting go of all the emotional part of all these things that are giving us pain, everything that is creating pain, and waking up to a real life, which is the awareness, the consciousness, the fact that we are alive and that there is always a way to be reborn, if that's the keyword of today. And I think the idea of rebirth and being reborn is actually in relation to qualities. Like, what qualities do I allow to express or to grow inside me? And for Jesus' story, for instance, the idea of forgiveness, right? That's the key word in this case. But since you both gave examples of the butterfly and the caterpillar and the birth itself, these are natural processes. Let's think about it. This is something that happens naturally in its due time, all right? So that means that even this transformation process that everybody, like Leigh was saying, everybody is now preaching all over in all possible ways. It's like à la mode, if you are to use this, my French skills. So everybody's selling this, let's go and transform. It is, though, a natural process, and it happens when it happens. Just like the trees are blooming in spring, and just like the baby is born between 7 and 9 months to be able to survive and to be okay and healthy, the process of transformation and rebirth take the time it takes. And this comes to our inability, or maybe the ability we can start to develop now, to have patience. Yeah, this is our culture. We want to go fast. Let's get enlightened now. You know, let's take the pill for enlightenment so I can enlighten myself today, rather than going and staying in that wisdom of what's happening. Understanding how this works, understanding how your mind works, and just allowing that force that created all this, that creates the tree, that creates the flower, that creates the fruit that I can eat. Yeah. And that fruit that I can eat, so that body perpetuates to exist, continues to exist, and that so I can think and I can love and I can express joy. So I think the process of rebirth is mostly a process, like Leigh said, of letting go and allowing yourself to be filled with that which is real and true. Yeah. No? Who is it? Is it Leigh or Kate that was in the truth? I think it's Kate that she was for the truth, a bit like I do. The truth is that we don't know what this is. The truth is nobody knows, right? We don't know where we were before. We don't know what's going to happen after. But what we know now is that We're here, we're alive, we're breathing, and we can allow something greater to happen through us. We can allow that forgiveness, we can allow that love, we can allow that joy to come through. Yeah, because this is how we've been built. If we are to look just at the physical aspect of our existence, our neurology has been built to try to avoid pain, right?
Yes.
And to look for pleasure. So there's basically two things we always do, is one or the other, actually. We either avoid pain or we are looking for pleasure. But the thing is, the idea of pleasure has been distorted, just as the endurance for certain types of pain that are necessary, such as grief, for instance, is also important. So we are not in our, how do you say, we are a bit further away from what we should be. That's why it's such a chaos out there. So the process of rebirth, I think I'm very chaotic in my speech, but I just let the thoughts flow.
Yeah.
You're hearing me with your heart and you love me anyway, right?
I think you're so beautiful. Every word that you say is perfect.
So I think it's all a matter of, if you want to let that rebirth happen, it's a letting go. You have to allow that which is supposed to happen through you to happen. And it was, I will tell you a quick Zen, short Zen story. I don't remember who said it. I'm sorry about that. But it's a Zen master who is asked, who has attained enlightenment, and was asked, so how does it feel? And the disciples or other people were asking me, how does it feel to be enlightened? And he said, well, exactly the same, just 2 centimeters away from the ground.
Oh, it's true. It's like it's letting go of selfishness, jealousy, greed.
Exactly. So for you, for instance, what died? Because you talk about rebirth. Rebirth means living like a caterpillar, leaving that old skin.
Yeah.
And coming out as a different creature, right? What was the old skin for you, and what came forth naturally? Because you didn't do it. What's the part that you did in there? Not much. Yeah, it was just the love was in there.
Allowance. It was allowing. Allowing,
right.
and literally realizing that there's something so much greater than anything that I was trying desperately so hard to hold on to, which was damaging myself, because that just wasn't important anymore. It just wasn't important. And the only thing that was important was letting it go and just to be.
So let me ask you this. What precisely did you do to let go then? What's your personal contribution?
I chose.
Yeah, exactly. What did you choose?
I chose Ethan. I chose Ethan. I chose love. That was it. I chose love. Let it all go. Because love and pain, they're so close on the same line, you know, because we allow ourselves to be hurt by people that we love, and we choose to hurt the people that are closest to us because we love them. We're so similar, you know. Love and pain, it's just an emotion. We all have this, you know. We all have the capacity to create love, or to create pain, or to hurt people with words, or to hurt people with actions, or to love people with words, or to love people with actions. You know, this is all a choice, and it's easy to do either. But as soon as you choose to follow your guide and to follow the journey, the route of nature, the route of love, the route of shedding your skin like a snake sheds its skin and moves on, and, you know, lizards and, you know, all of these animals that shed.
So what's the skin that you shed? What's the skin that you shed? What did you let go?
I shed pain. I shed fear. I shed control, because you can't control the situation.
Yeah.
Externally, you can control
your
own.
It also was a process that you spoke about, was the whole process of going through, you know, like what Susanna's saying now is that there's very often not one sort of specific thing, but it was the events that happened that got you to that point of, I'm giving it over.
Yeah.
And, you know, that included the Reiki, that included, you know, all the various things that you do. And their processes, there's the breathing, and there's the imagery and the visualization and the meditation. All those different things, I think, are part of the cocoon, or part of the process, that you suddenly get to that point where you think, I've let go. And it's like this epiphany moment where you decide, I'm breaking free from this negative victim pain.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, because we allow things to identify us. And perhaps in the early days of your industry, you were allowing the industry to identify you, or trying to fit in to be, as opposed to being yourself within that industry, which is kind of like where also a bit of choice came in. Was my choice is to be me, and to love my son, you know, along with Billy loving him in his way.
Yeah, and it's funny because the situation, I chose to ask for help. I chose to be around people that were healers. And it's funny because this situation now that we're in, the thing that's helping me get through so much is being surrounded by people that are like-minded and that are healers, and giving myself energy so I can give out the energy too to the people that need me to help. And you know, it's almost like a process. It's almost like reliving this 10-year cycle, but in a different way, you know. So it's even more, and learning the NLP a few years ago, it was like I didn't even know why I did it. I just felt it, and I started to learn it, and it was freedom, and it was a tool. And it's like I've been on this journey and listening to my gut, you know, for 10 years, just getting stronger and stronger, listening to my intuition and my gut, to get to the point where I'm needing all the tools that I've learned now to help as many people as I possibly can. And that's a beautiful thing to be, you know. And I'm grateful forever to everyone that I'm with, because you guys are just so special to me, you know, and help so many people. And I'm very lucky to have you all in my life. Marie, good morning. I just wanted to say good morning because I saw you.
Hi, Marie.
I can't hear you. We got Marie.
Good morning, beautiful souls. I'm loving the energy, and sorry for rocking up like technology issue a bit. But your energy, the passion, and it's just beautiful to listen to you three. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for coming. Another energy burst in our group.
Another energy burst into there. That's right. Maybe I'll try to bounce a little bit on the rebirth process that we were referring. And through what I've just heard now, I mean, I'm very aligned with what I've heard so far as well. I think for the experience that I've had personally, or I see around, it's kind of this magical feeling that we get inside, that somehow we align, and there's an inner trust, and it also bounces back to another session that we have. And that inner trust that lets you know that the true you is talking and expressing. The feeling that you are having are governed by your inner spirit, feeling who you are. And you're no longer in the mental and feeling constantly as to what it is that you're expected to do or to be. And for me, it's almost like we find our essence. And for example, the NLP, and that was one NLP or other method, looking and finding the child inside you. When you go as adults, we get caught and hopped into doing all sorts of things and being the perfect mom, the perfect wife, and the good colleague at work and so on. And we quite often disconnect with our true nature. Not that we don't know it, not that it's not inside, but it's just, we're just very busy with life and busy being like the good person we think we need to be to tick the right boxes, to be loved, to be perfect, to really give what we need to give to the people we like and so on. And we try to keep a little bit of space for us, but somehow it's not that we're dying, but somehow we're shutting down that little newborn with all that energy and innocence and kind of, you know, that comes in their spontaneity and this truth that we are. We get a bit further out of it, just try to fit the model. And all of a sudden, I think that the activator would either be indeed, you know, the inner joy and love are for me two key activator. But one connection, which I also thought is very powerful, is managing to connect to that inner child. And what that inner child was when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what was it, the thing that used to excite us? And the moment we start to connect to that, or make us vibrant, or make us even, whatever it is, whether it was angry, whether it was happy, hopping, dancing, movies, anything. And we connect to that deep feeling, this energy where we get the goose all along the spine. And now we think, oh, this is who I am. This is what really makes me going. And all of a sudden, it gives such a power to follow that feeling, to follow that heart. And life sounds lighter. For some reason, it gives a pass. And the joy that it brings is one of the first steps, because it's, as you say, Danielle, I mean, joy and love are the two things for rebirth. That makes you do anything, that you go and you get that feeling deep inside. Anything is true. I mean, and you know exactly where to go, and the alignment that it gives as well, and the alignment and the trust makes you feel like you don't expect. You just go. You're born. It goes on. I don't know if what I'm saying is clear enough or resonates with you.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And the thing is, I mean, it's quite a testing time for a lot of people. So some people might be, finding it quite hard to be reborn, because the challenges that are being thrown at us as a world and as a nation, and it's like, it's completely out of our comfort zone. It's completely out of everything that we've ever known. And some of us are in situations that it's hard to be reborn, because we're in prickly situations where, we're putting a shell up to be protected. So what advice would you say, Susanna, what advice would you say?
When you did that and you said that we're all in cocoon, well, that's what other metaphor than being in a mother's womb right now, right? Waiting for probably a difficult passage, because it's not for everybody. It's going to be the transition, like coming out of it is going to be easy, but we're going to be out there. And we're going to be born, and the first day of life, the first moment, first second, we had no clue what was going to happen, and we still made it until now, right?
That's the truth, right?
There was somebody taking care of us, but there's always somebody taking care of us, right?
Yeah, always.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but or probably it's my perception of life and how I function until now, but I always felt that if I ever needed, there was always going to be somebody, somehow, somewhere there for me. And if it's not in a physical way, there's going to be something there that's going to support me. I've always felt that. This is one of the things I trust, since we're talking about trust. So I think if we are to look at the situation that's happening now, being in a cocoon is like having that, it's a bit shorter. You don't have to stay 9 months. So we still, it's still not that bad.
Hopefully.
So, just trusting that process and using this metaphor, because the unconscious mind works with stories, works with metaphors, and just allow that to happen, because the unconscious mind, the neurology is designed, is the way it works, is to protect, right? So it will always do everything it takes for you to go through whatever process, including death, the best way possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but when we were talking about what to do now, a question that, let's say, if we were to have a coaching session now with somebody that is going through this, the question I would ask is, what do you need to shed?
Yes.
What do you think that is now time to let go of? And of course, we go into the now state, or we put them in a light trance where they can, have access more, because everybody knows. If I'm asking you now, Danielle, Lay, Marie, you all know what you could let go of now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what you would let go of now if it was possible. And you know what is not safe and what it's safe to let go. And I would follow that. And if it's important to let go of something that is not yet safe, we will try to make it safe before letting it go. And then I would ask the question, of course, what what is that which you'd like to bring forth? And it's funny, you see in the human history, when we look back, and even today, a bit less today, we're less courageous today. I find we're a bit more, too much used to good things, and then we kind of lost our courage and our, strength. We have rights, but we don't have too many responsibilities, I find. Because assuming one's life is not a trait of our, nowadays culture. But when we look back, people gave their lives for freedom. People gave their lives for love. People are willing to give their lives for love. They don't give their lives for money. I've never seen somebody, being willing to, to really give their own life in order to make more money. That I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Yeah, it's just an energy shift, isn't it? It's an energy shift of what you believe is important at the time.
Exactly. So what
really
is that it's important now? Yeah.
Yeah. What's really important to you now? The value. What can you realign your values to what's happening right now? Because your old set of values may not be applicable. Hey, darling.
Okay.
Darling. Your old value set, which may work in the old version of you. If you look again, everything that you used to think you were, and everything that you used to think was important to you, if you really look at that from inside and just structure it again, are those values in the right order now? Can you rearrange those values to what's important right now? Because our values can change all the time.
Absolutely, but there's one thing, Danielle, I want to mention here, and I remembered it earlier when Lei was talking. Sometimes you don't even have to make all this effort to make this happen. In yoga, we have this story with the bird landing on a coconut tree. Do you know that story?
No, I don't. Please.
Well, it's a very simple story. So basically, it's the bird flying, and it lands on a branch of a coconut tree, and there is a ripe coconut in it. And the moment the bird sits on the branch, the coconut falls. And the question is, was the coconut going to fall anyway, or is the landing of the bird that is creating or is generating this process? So perhaps for many of us now, this crisis or this situation, which is kind of special and unique, could be that bird landing on a coconut tree, and you're going to see so many coconuts falling now because they're already ripe.
But I also think that's so true what you're saying, Susanna. But I also think that what you also said about how it's a passage. I find that so real and so important, because we don't, sometimes we want it just to be this miracle of, having COVID, so we're all stuck, and then it's all of a sudden going to be fine again. But it's a passage of change. It's something we don't know. And if we can allow, and it may be it might be very uncomfortable for many, it will be uncomfortable for many people, on different levels. But that is a birthing. That is a process of change. It's a process of whatever it is. But it's accepting. What is it? I love what you asked about, because I was thinking, as you were talking earlier, how do we help others in the situation? And it's helping them understand that it's okay to go through that passage of and you will get to the point where the bird lands on the coconut tree and that coconut can crack. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Kate, my darling, please talk to me. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. And I don't know what's being said, so I'm just listening for a bit, and then if I've got anything to say.
We're just sharing, being authentic, right, proper from the heart.
Cool.
Right from the heart.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, what just came up for me when Lee and Susanna were talking was about the pain of change and how we think it should be easy, or we should be able to just change habits just like that, and there's something wrong with us if we can't do it, and that something hard is easy to just sort of step away from and not try because it's too hard or feels too difficult, whereas, as we all know, change does involve pain a bit of suffering, and because it is changing, even if you're just changing your thoughts. We get, you know, when I'm working with clients, they get headaches, they feel sick, you know, all sorts of things happen because they're just changing the way their minds are wired. And so all this change is painful, but if you want something to change, then you've got to be willing to go through that and accept that you're not going to do it well, and accept it's going to be painful, and accept you probably fail more than you succeed, but that's what it's all about. And being okay with not being okay, and being okay with not knowing how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
All of these things, that sort of just comes up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's...
Oh my, can I add something to that? Because
Please.
it's super cool she's mentioning that, because you see, when we are in our mom's womb, thank you, I said it, we don't know how hard it's going to be, the passage, so it happens anyway, and then we think it's over probably, but then we have to crawl, and then we have to fall many times until we learn how to walk. And then everybody's happy, and oh my God, they eat by themselves and they walk by themselves, but then you're going to have to learn how to count, and then you're going to have to learn and make many bars and many circles to learn how to write, and then everybody's happy they can learn how to write, and then oops, something else happens after. You have to learn more complicated calculations, you have to learn a new language, you have to learn how to be in love, and then you fail, and then you fail again, and then you fail again, and then you find a job and you lose that job. So it's an ongoing process.
It is
an ongoing process. It's just that now it's a bit at a bigger scale, but it's the same thing, life happening. That's life.
And if you look at even zoomed in even more, when you're pregnant, so you're carrying the newborn, you're carrying your newborn for 9 months in your belly. When you give birth, for those that have given birth, the pain, oh my gosh, it's so bad, it's so bad. But that pain you're going through is creating a new life. And that's what it is. You have to get through that pain, not just in birth, but in life. You go through the pain and then you become what you need to be. It's always pain, then love. It's like that.
You know, the argument is as well that, you know, the journey is everything. It's not the destination. It's not what you're trying to achieve, because how often have you aimed to try and do something and then found that what you wanted you didn't really want, and actually, or even if you got it, it was actually, you found it was the process you loved. It was working with other people, it was doing all this stuff, like people that climb up mountains. You know, when you get to the top, what do? Take a couple of pictures and that's it, you go down, and what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
It was the process, it was the challenging yourself, it was getting up that hill, climbing that mountain, going through all that pain and endurance, you know, making all that happen, and all the friendships you made on the way, everything you learned about yourself. And you get to the top and think, well, what am I going to do now? I'll go and climb another one, because what else is there? Yeah. So it's the process you love, really. It's in the pain you love. It's all of that. It's the growth that's in all of that. That's what we love. So when we shy away from the pain and think it's a bad thing, when you look back on it, there's a lot of good stuff happening there too. And so it's the growing, and all growth takes pain and suffering, and it's life's job to keep throwing things at us, you know, to throw us off our path. But the path is the path.
That's the life.
Yeah, that's life.
That is what life is. And so a lot of people beat themselves up because I haven't been able to break this habit or do this or achieve this. Whereas even if you did get it, you might find it wasn't it anyway. Yeah. And so it's more about, people say, oh, we must enjoy the journey, but it's not so much enjoying and happy, skippy unicorns and rainbows all the time. It's more about,
oh no, oh,
come on. But also,
it's that feeling, isn't it, of putting yourself into something and challenging yourself and stepping over, taking that step, not knowing how it's going to be, but doing it anyway, and then looking back and think, God, yeah, I did that, you know, that's, and then doing it again in a different way, whatever it might be.
It is that continual process. that Susanna was talking about, and I think that's the one area where my butterfly caterpillar thing falls apart a bit. You know, as far as a metaphor goes, is it starts as a caterpillar and ends as a butterfly, and you know, we kind of don't do that. It's more like how you both are talking, Susanna and you. It's something that just keeps going, and the journeys and other challenges come up. And yes, I haven't been able to lose that weight. It's not I can't crack that habit. It means I haven't done it yet, because life is still a process and it's still going on, you know. So it's definitely more processual than, that's my new word for today.
I love it.
Processual.
I would
I would
also say resisting to changing is something which takes a lot of effort. A lot of the pain comes more from the resistance we put into change. We're not putting the trust into saying, okay, let it be, let it go. We don't know where the tunnel goes, but we know where we want to head. And resistance offers a lot of pain. I think this is really what it is. And when it comes to people we need to help and are not always so sure at what they are going through, for me, one of the ways to help is help them to realize, yes, they must not resist those changes. Be focused onto the value you have, but some of them are not even, I think, fully aware that this is all a reborn process. Is it that they are going to realign their value? They're going to ask themselves a question. If they start to let go, not resisting on what they were doing yesterday and want to keep it doing as it is tomorrow, if that goes, it opens the door to other avenues. And that's maybe a way to help them and to invite them to ask them that question. If what do I let go? Was it that essential? Does it really satisfy my values today? What are they? And maybe help them to realize it is a whole reborn process they're going through. And as we all say, we never know when we're born what's happening. We don't know when we go out there what is even the next sentence that we're going to say, but we trust we can speak, right? We're going to meet someone, we're going to say, you know, we haven't planned the conversation we're going to have, but we know we're going to manage. We've got the tools to do that. And we can do the same in life. We know we're going to drive out there. We don't know how many cars are going to come our way, not our way. We have to avoid them. We're taking the right direction, but we still know how to reach to point B or C or D, wherever. And we've got the tools to do it all right. And I say that's the comfort zone I would try to put people in when they need help, to bring them back in that comfort zone of trust and focus and ability are in there.
And it's like, when is enough? What is enough? If you look at the journey and you get to each destination and you don't celebrate when you get there because of all the stuff you've been through, and you're there and you take it in and you're consciously aware of everything that you've achieved, you know, it will never be enough if you don't do that. You have to when you get to that point that you've worked for so much, that's enough. That's enough. And then another challenge is great, but celebrating what you've achieved is so important. Like, to get to the end of the day, even if you break it down into days and achieve every little thing in the day, you know, to look back and go, oh, I managed to do all the cleaning today. I managed to homeschool my child for 2 hours without it all blowing off today. I managed to cook this. I mean, you know, celebrating every single little thing that you managed to create that day. That's so important, you know, I believe.
Yeah, a note on celebration as well is like, there's a great thing about, when you talk about visualizing your goals and you see yourself having completed it already. One step on from that is to celebrate forward. So actually celebrate having achieved it before you achieve it. And by doing that, so go out for a meal and celebrate, or you know, whatever you can do nowadays wherever you are in the world. But have, you know, light a candle, do the, you know, treat yourself to something to say, yeah, I've already achieved it, even when you haven't, because that forms your mind will then think, well, okay, I've achieved it already, so what did I do to do that? And it has to change something to make it happen. And so that's another way of looking forward and saying, okay, I've already getting that positive mindset for change. But then the other part I wanted to mention also is that it's also being okay with you exactly as you are right now, and not making yourself wrong for not having this thing that you want, or being different in some way. And that part of it is something that I've struggled with over the years, you know, years and years of training and courses and all of this stuff, trying to make myself better at something. Yeah. And then when you realize that actually, I don't need to do any of this. I'm okay exactly as I am. And this isn't about trying to make myself a whole person or become worthy of something. You know, I'm actually okay as I am, and I don't need to work on myself because I'm already complete and whole and everything else. And once you get to that place, everything else is a bonus. Then you're coming at everything from a sort of point of joy and sort of contentment and fulfillment already, because you're already enough inside. Yeah. So that's a lot of the work, is that first. Yeah, before you're trying to do something out there, is like working in here and in here and saying, okay, well, what's going on here? That why aren't I okay with just me as I am, and getting to that place.
Yeah, be the change that you want to see. Be the change. Become that, because through our patterns and our words, and you know, we have so much power. We have so much power that we don't tap into on a daily basis. You know, if you feel like you don't have the power, just to get into the present and realize what actually you do have control of, because when you start noticing the little things that you do have control of, that builds up resilience and strength as well, and you start noticing more, and the more you practice what you want to see, the stronger it becomes, and the more you'll be able to give it out and create those changes in the world that you wish to live in, basically.
I think repetition of that sort of thing is also very powerful. You know, when you were talking, Kate, what came to mind was Marissa Peer with her I Am Enough. Also, she's a wonderful guru. She's got some really beautiful stuff out there, but she does this mantra of people writing on their mirrors, whatever, I am enough. And for a while I had that on my phone as an affirmation, I am enough, I am enough. But I think it's just an affirmation, not sort of meaning anything and not giving it hope, or just sort of saying it occasionally doesn't help. But if you allow yourself to really look into it and think, I am enough, you know, it's such a flop of human beings. I'm not enough, they better, to compare ourselves to others or to whatever, but it's, I am enough. And I sort of encourage people to go out and have a look at her sort of website and her theory, you know, because she's got lots of little teachings on I am enough, you know, and that's exactly what you're saying now. I don't have to keep doing this, that, keep trying to, it's like this trying that is almost like a repellent in a way from someone just accepting and loving who they are. You know, who are the people that you kind of look up to and think of as someone special? Are they the ones who are out there pushing? Or are they the ones that, for me personally, who I'm very attracted to, are people who are just peaceful with who I am? You know, I'm okay, I'm cool, and I'm connected to more than what other people think, which is a process again. It's a whole process of us getting to that point where we're feeling, and it certainly goes up and down. I mean, it's not like a, hey, cool, I'm enough, I've got it. But it is that sort of repetitive. And I recently downloaded an app somebody told me about called Affirmation Reminder. And 3 times a day it comes up, and then you can press this little button and say the affirmation 4 times or something. I'll send you a link to it or whatever, because it's such a fun thing to have on your phone, and then you put your own affirmations in.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so it's quite fun. So yeah.
I cannot believe it's nearly 12 o'clock. Where has this hour gone?
Yes, it is.
I know. And it's only now that I feel the conversation really starts, you know?
I know. I
have so many things to say.
I mean, I can go off on a little bit further anyway, because that's all right for me if anyone else is. But Susanna, can you talk about, remember before we go, you were going to talk about your technique. You were talking about. You
want to read the excerpt from My Voice Will Go With You? Won't you end up by
I wanted to do so many things. I don't think I have time for any of that.
No, I want you to do your technique.
That My Voice Will Go With You thing. Do that with us. Is it very long?
You want me to read this?
Yeah.
Well, it's an Erickson story. Does everybody want to hear it?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, I was talking to Danielle, it's a meditation that I do, which is a very simple thing. So just to let you choose between the two, which I call This is Life. And when I teach meditation on the places where I used to go before, in the spas where I used to work, I was teaching this one, which is very nice and simple. Basically, you take everything that you hear as you sit. For instance, let's do it together up to a certain point. And even you don't even have to close your eyes. You can actually keep them open, or you can close them if you want. And then you just become aware of the sounds. Apart from the sound of my voice, obviously, there must be some other noises or sounds that are near you or further away from you. And whatever that is, either pleasant or unpleasant, just tell yourself mentally, this is life. I can hear some birds from somewhere. This is so beautiful. But this is life, right? And bring your attention even closer to yourself and pay attention to the noises and sounds that are very near to you, right there. Maybe the sound of your own breathing. There is something there that you can hear, very, very subtle. That's right. And you can say mentally, this is life. And as you say, this is life, there's something empowering happening there because you know that you are part of it. And the most phenomenal thing that you can do and you're capable of doing is recognizing life and loving life. And then you bring your attention even closer and start feeling the air moving around your body, there where your skin is exposed, probably around your face. Maybe there is a little draft, and even if it isn't, there is a subtle sensation when the air is touching your skin. That's right. And then you say mentally, this is life. And you can move even deeper and start noticing the movement of the air as it touches your nostrils, moving in and out. That subtle sensation that you feel right at the entrance of the nostrils, and then even deeper down towards the sinuses. And thoughts may come and may go. And when they do that, you just simply say mentally, this is life. That's right. And as you observe your breathing, probably you notice that it becomes calmer and deeper. Slower and more natural. That's right. And as you observe this process of the air moving in and out, just say mentally, this is life. And as you become aware more and more of your body as it's sitting there, just notice the sensation of your clothes touching your skin, the sensation that you feel from the chair as you sit on it, and any sensation of comfort or discomfort that you may feel now as you sit in there. And to whatever sensation you're feeling now, just notice it and simply say in your mind, this is life. Allowing it to contribute to you in the most wonderful way. And then moving even deeper, notice what sensations you feel inside your body, your stomach, your lungs, inside your belly. That's right. Paying attention to all the sensations that are there now of comfort or discomfort, and simply say this is life, allowing it to happen. And if there are thoughts or emotions, preoccupations, worries, concern, guess what? This is life. This is life happening right now, and you are observing it. This marvelous, magical process of life happening right now, right there, through you. And you are the witness of it. from now on, we can just go on and stay there for a while and, go deeper and deeper into the meditation. But for now, for this time, you can simply become aware slowly of everything surrounding. Take a deep breath, and when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And can I add one last thing, please? Now that you're all very relaxed.
That was amazing.
The idea will
That
drop.
was lovely. Thank you so much. That was
You're
actually
welcome.
much better.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I wanted to mention that all these masters that are teaching have had difficult times and learned through things and have had disciplines. Being yourself is not an easy thing when you're a human, right? So a discipline, there was a yoga master who used to say, there is no freedom without discipline. And discipline is not in a sense to punish yourself, but to follow the flow of nature and to be with the law of nature. So if there is a discipline we need to do is to really go with the seasons, go with the nature, go with how your body works. This is discipline. It's not like being harsh on yourself. It's hard to love yourself when you have bad habits. It's hard to love yourself when you have an alcohol problem, when you're violent with your own kid. You can't just love and accept yourself who you are. So it's a more complicated than that, I think. But the best way to go, it is to follow a discipline that follows the natural law, because the tigers do, the elephants do, the cats do, the birds do. We don't. That's why we suffer. We don't follow that natural path. And this comes to Ayurveda. That's why I love Ayurveda so much, because it's going back to the nature, to how nature works and respecting that. This is another perspective of that. So that's another point.
Thank you. Thank you so flipping much. Thank you all. And it's 12:10, and so I'm gonna go off. Honestly, I could just speak to you for hours and hours. That was just incredible. Thank you all yet again for just starting my day just with magic, absolute magic. I'm forever grateful, and I hope people watching this get a lot out of it and get the tools that they need to set them on their most perfect day, because every day is a blank page, and it's up to us to write our own stories, our own books, and create our own chapters, because we can be reborn every single day. And it's never too late. It's just recognition and acceptance and love, basically. So thank you all. And I'm going to sign off by saying, just give your, so I wrote down before, become the best version of you, shed your skin, like the snakes, like the lizards, like the cocoon, just let it go. Anything from your old life that was weighing you down, take it all off, start afresh, and only give your precious energy to the things that are worthy of it. Which is
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much for your loving energy.
I'm going to stop the live screen.
Thank you, girls. Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Good.
Bye.
I'm going to stop the recording. Stop recording.